Welcome back, guys, to Nino Kuni, where it seems on visiting the fairy ground I found all the ambition we will ever need for the lady in Ding Dong Dell and the man, the researcher in Hamelin, as we move on to make the Clarion. So let's get our first chunk. Roll up, or you, Sonny Jim. Huh? Sonny? Do you mean me? Of course, man. Who else would I mean? Stop and have a bite to eat, will ya? It does smell pretty flippin' tasty. It really does. What is it? What is it, he says? Are you telling me you've never come across the fairy ground's most famous food, fairy rabbit? No, I haven't. Niggers, I knew I should have carried out my plan sooner. What plan's that, man? I was gonna open a fairy rabbit shop in every town and city in the world to spread the word of our wonder food, wasn't I? Flip, man, that's a tidy little plan. Won't it be a bit hard, though? Of course it will. But if it's to teach the world about the fairy's finest food stuff, it's worth it, ain't it? Well, if that doesn't show a tiny bit of ambition, I don't know what does. You're right, Mr. Trippy. Excuse me, Mr. Fairy, can I ask you something? What is it? We'd like to take a little of your ambition and help somebody who doesn't have enough of their own. Would that be okay? Of course, man. Go for your life. Really? Gee, thanks. We'll take a little bit. Indeed. That's me hoping that the other bit is the ambition. Otherwise, we're completely barking up the wrong tree with a quick trip to Ding Dong Dell, a quick trip back here to pick up the other part, and then onwards to Hamelin and back onto the storyline trail. Ooh, there's nice. I feel flippin' cracking like a new ferryman. Travel indeed. Travel to Ding Dong Dell. Yet again, another swath of side quests complete. No problemo. Amazed there wasn't any bounty zone. Kind of slightly disappointed. Any kind of like really tip-top weaponry would be brilliant right now. Like the steam or storm hammer or whatever it is I picked up on the purple chest. That would have been amazing. It's boosted Frieza's power so much. You've got some ambition there, innit? Can't give hard and hand over. Will do indeed. Now we know that the air splitter ability is the right thing to use with Frieza. It's probably not so much a good idea that we do use it. You know what I mean? Don't break the game. Hi, our shop. Our dream shop. What am I doing? There's no time to waste. We have to sell. She's back. My dear darling wife is back. Oh, better looks like tidy. Nino, now they can realize their dream together at last. Thank you so much for your help. Here, take this. It's the least we can do. Be sure to visit when the shop opens. Will it ever open? A healing rain gem? 1,500 guilders. Yet more stamps. And another card complete. Oh, we've collected a few alchemy formulae on our travels too. Here. I'm sure they'll be of more use to you than they will to us. Right, more alchemical formulae. What do we actually gain here? Because it seems like doing these side quests and doing the long chains gives us great rewards. So what do we get this time? Well, we just go on everything, yeah? Everything's good for me. Right, let's have a look around. Right, we already unlocked Skyfall Sword and stuff like that. Or did we not? Is that a new one? Did we unlock that before or not? I'm not sure. Seems crazy. Demon's Axe. Aren't these really good stuff? Meteor Mallet. It's an axe hammer that doesn't lower accuracy as well, so that's amazing. Ninny Hammer, Grand Axe. Not sure where to find all these bits for it though. Giant Spear. Looks like we've unlocked some of the better weaponry, if not the best. Suit of Enigma Armor. Look, we got none of the stuff that we need to make it. So I'm wondering where to find all this. Brilliant Armor. Wizard's Robes. Renders knockout attacks ineffective. Cool. What else here? Heavenly Mantle. Makes it easier to evade attacks as well. Increases familiar stamina as a Soul Fang necklace. That's really quite good. Wormrest Ring. Resistance to fire. 15 plus normal attack. 15 plus magic attack. My goodness. Salamander Scale. Trick type intensified fire. Makes critical hits more lightly. The Worm King's Scale. A dragon scale that takes a century to grow and shed. It gives the wearer a boost in every department. My goodness. 5 to everything? And makes critical hits more lightly? Goodness me. Medal of Impunity renders all elements ineffective? Look at these. If I put them on my main characters, does that work on the familiars too? That's something I've never thought. Does anything I put on my main characters affect the familiars? Increases attack below his defense. Ironclad Badge decreases movement speed, but look at that. Ups defense by 30 on each thing for that trade-off. My goodness. Thank you for those, guys. Doing these side quests are really worth it, but gathering all the stuff to be able to make this, that's the hard part. Well, let's go get ourselves our last piece of ambition here, and then travel straight towards Hamelin. All the weird lobsters and squids hanging in the sky. Man, the fairground is a really animated town. Apart from that bit there with the weird poster. I mean, it's lacking in the spirit, that's for sure. Just the people watching the show, is it? Which one is it? The one at the back? You, sir? Are you sleeping? Okay, let's rearrange. Someone at the front, next to this one. So you or you? You? It's no good, man. It's still nowhere near good enough. It needs more. It just needs more. Flip! Sunlight says, nah, man. I just seen the other fella coming back with a bunch of bananas. Haha, no good, man. He's more oomph, man. Sunlight says, nah, man. I just seen the other fella come back with a massive, great, big bunch of bananas. Huh? What are you doing, Mr. Fairy? I said bananas wrong. It's obvious, isn't it? I practiced the punchline, ain't I? Huh? Oh, you mean the punchline to a joke? Gee, you sure practicing hard? That's the only way to get it right, though, isn't it? True comedy doesn't come easy. Never mind getting it right, man. I want to nail it. Knock it out of the park, like. How else am I going to become the greatest straight man the fairground ever saw? Jeepers, that's some ambition, huh, Mr. Drippy? You're not wrong, Ollie boy. Oi, fancy that as a hand, pal? What now? Can't you see I'm flipping busy? Come on, you big idiot. It won't take a second. Alright, if I have to, but only because you asked so nicely. Thank you very much. Hold still for just 1 second. So, we've got all the ambition we'll ever need. And onwards to Hamelin! What the heck did you just do? I feel all calm. Maybe I'm trying a bit too hard, eh? Maybe you are. But thank you for your ambition, sir. Hamelin bound we are. Hopping all over the world we are like. Tidy! Hopefully everything's going good here. No one's invaded again. That'd be brilliant. No one's stealing our stuff would be also good. Right, let's take the warp. That should get us there a slight bit faster, all in all. Now where are we looking for you, sir? All the way down there. Why can't you be up here? And stop losing your courage and all that, researcher guy. Some of you people are such a bother. Such a bother. Then you give us lovely alchemical formula, and we are happy. Oh, blue chest. Didn't see it before. How not? We'll have the cheeseburger. That's fine, only a little reward, but still, blue chest. Missed it. No clue how. No matter what I do, I feel so empty inside. Oh, I know you do, or not? Sure you do, sir. Say, you don't look so happy. Are you worried about your research? Research? Pah! I've called it a day, I'm afraid. Huh? Why would you do that? How can I put it? I suppose I just couldn't see the point of it all anymore. I have lost sight of my goals, of the high ideals that first inspired me to do my bit for progress. That's terrible. What happened? Well, you might ask, Ollie boy. You won't like the answer. He's lost his ambition. If we don't give him back his dreams, his research will never get done. So our last ambition filled. We can't just let all of his hard work go to waste. We have to help him, Mr. Drippy. In that case, we need to track down the generous measure of ambition, sharpish. You'd have thought it'd be the fairies of Fairyground that has that. So much of it. Okay, it's time to cast Give Hard. Give him back the ambition he's missing. Why, there they are! I can see them clear as day! My goals, my ideals, my dreams! This is no time for idle chitter-chatter! It's full steam ahead for my research! It's sure swell to see you with all your old dreams back, sir! I do believe you have come to my aid once again! There are no words to express my gratitude! But I do have this! I trust it will be to your liking! A whirly-whirlies gem! 1,500 guilders! Most importantly, stamps, 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 stamps. One for luck? No. No formula either? Oh, side quest covered yet again, apart from Derwin, of course. Derwin and his horrible side quest of evolution. Why do you have to have that one? That's a long-term one. Supposedly we can cut a little bit of the way by entering new areas and catching second stage form ones, so we're going to do that. Hello, madame. You all okay? Just wondering exactly how things are going. We actually saw your queen and all that. It was all good. Tell me, did you find her? Did you find Queen Kulan? Hold your horses. We'll tell you everything once we've gathered our thoughts together. I'm sorry. Please forgive my impatience. Then it is as I thought. Queen Kulan lives. Judging by your account, Alf survived too. Oh, you described him so perfectly. Truly, this day is filled with the gladdest of tidings. Alf? You mean that guard we met? Yes, that is he. For many years we protected our queen shoulder to shoulder. Alf and his Abyssinia. Sounds like my Welsh granny used to say, Abyssinia, Abyssinia. Literally worked like that as well. Run perfectly like Abyssinia. When the Dark Djinn struck, we fought to save her. And when the end came, I implored him to protect Queen Kulan till his dying breath. Though her heart was cruelly broken, still Alf washed over her. That's all very well, but you went and flippin' died, didn't you? That can't have done your relationship much good. No, and nothing can change that. Yet I take solace from the fact that Alf and our queen still live. In any case, it has done me good to speak with you, and who knows, I may see Alf again. Hang about, only wizards that can see ghosts. I mean, your fellow wouldn't be able to see you even if you did bump into. Mr. Drippy! Ha! It's alright. Your fairy friend is correct, and even though he could not see me, we could not speak, I could watch over him. Now I wish to reward you for all the glad tidings you have brought me. Please take this, wasn't expecting a reward. You obtained a gust plume. Thank you very much, but what is it? This is an elegant feather that the royal guards of Xanadu wore. Alf and I each cherished ours. Gee, I sure do hope you get to meet him again, and Queen Kulan. Thank you. I hope so too. Now we needed them for another quest. Maybe we can give it to Alf. You never know. Well, let's head to see Marcassin at once. Not making the error of going round the other way this time. We've still got to pass the massive corridor. Well, hopefully no armored mechanized tank beasts kind of attack me again. Bad tanks. Bad Porco Grosso. Marcassin, why do you have to have such a... Well, it makes sense on a defensive thing to be so far away, but still. Still, why are you so far? With a pig's water fountain. Marcassin, build us a Clarion. Finish it. Hello, Marcassin. We need you to finish carving something for us. Flipperneck! Someone didn't go to finish in school. Heard of the word please, have ya? Ha! I do enjoy your visit. There's a certain liveliness you bring to every occasion. Now, you mentioned carving something. Yes, your majesty. Esther was talking about the Clarion. That's right. We need you to help us finish it so we can clear a path across the Miasma Marshes. Ah, I see. Well, you've come to the right place. The Clarion may only be completed by the ruler of Hamelin. And I'm afraid there is a minor problem. Namely, that he does not possess all of the skills required. Huh? How do you mean, your majesty? To complete the Clarion, one must possess not only magical power, but the talent to carve the necessary holes. While I may have the magical skills, I'm unable to help with the more practical aspects of the process. So you're saying you're too clumsy to complete the Clarion? It is not a matter of clumsiness, I assure you. No, the skills that are required to pass from the Emperor directly to his heir. Gee, so your father passed away before he could teach you about this stuff, huh? Well then, we'll just have to go back in time and get him to teach you. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Fliggin' heck, you make it sound so flippin' easy. You only get to use breach time once in a lifetime, remember? Ah, you're right. Well then, what do we do? Aren't you forgetting someone? Swain? Do you mean? Truly? Did he? Well, I can't promise miracles, but father did teach me a few things, yeah. Ah yes, your father. Did he, come from this kingdom too? Only you never mentioned. Ah, alright. I just want to make a big deal of it. Yes, Marcassin's my brother, and my real name's Gascon. There, I've said it. Oh, that? We knew that already. We were there, you know. Then why are you so hell-bent on getting me to admit it? Anyway, we can discuss the whys and wherefores later on. The point is, my father told me what we need to know. It's good. And you're telling us now? If you'd let us know a bit earlier, we wouldn't have to come on the way to Hamelin now, would we? I'm afraid it's not that simple. I can't do the magic part, you see. Flipperneck, so you're no use to us either, is it? That's not quite true. Ah, so you know what I'm getting at, do you? suppose it's not all bad having a brain box of a great sage for a brother. I'm not sure I understand. What cannot be done alone may yet be done together. Is that not so, brother? Oh, I get it. You're gonna make it together. Exactly. Now give it here. Are you ready, Marcassin? We've got work to do. Yes, brother. I am ready.
Wow. That thing sure seems powerful. Yes, and they work so well together. Wow.
We obtained the Clarion at last. Now we can finally clear a path to Shaddar's castle. Thank you, Your Majesty. Thank you too, Swain. Oh, don't worry about thanking me. How long is it since we last made something together, Marcassin? Ha! Do you remember the model pig tank we made together? A blooming pig tank! That's the last pigging thing I want to be reminded of. Ha! You'll hear no arguments from me on that score. Anyway, let's focus on our task ahead. Clearing the miasma marshes. Clarion looks so beautiful. I can't wait to hear how it sounds. I think you should be the one to play it, Esfer. Yeah, Ollie right, if you ask me. There ain't no better woman for the job. I agree. I mean, I'd love to do it, but I'm tone deaf. I'll do it. I'll play the Clarion and clear a path through the miasma marshes. I truly believe you will, Esfer. Thank you, Your Majesty. Come on, Oliver. We should get going. You're right. It's time to head to the miasma marshes. It is indeed. The unbreakable bond between the hearts of the two princes has unlocked a story in the Wizard's Companion. To delay us further, you obtained a new tale of wonder, the ninth tale, the Flute Makers. Let us read, let us enjoy. Story time with Alexandria begins once again. Let's hope I don't trip up on any words. 12 Tales of Wonder. Nearly got them all, I think. We've got the 10th tale and 12th tale next, it looks like. Ninth Tale of Wonder, the Flute Makers. In a certain kingdom, there once lived 4 brothers. Though their parents had both died and they had grown up poor, the brothers had become famous and highly regarded. The first brother was very strong. Once, when the kingdom was in need of a new lake, he had lifted a stone bigger than 3 dragons out of the ground, creating a great hollow. He then carried the stone to the top of the tallest mountain in the land, lest it prove an eyesore to anyone. The king could not contain his delight as he watched the hollow slowly filling with water. The second brother was the greatest artist in the land. He went to the top of the mountain and carved wonderful sculptures from the stone that his brother had carried there, and offered them to the king, who was rendered speechless for the first time in his life by their beauty. The third brother was known as a master craftsman. He took the sculptures that his brother had made and erected sturdy walls between them, creating a mighty castle. He even used the remaining pieces of stone to build a working clock. The king was amazed at how it always told the correct time, despite being made of stone. The king now had a new castle that he believed was the most beautiful, the best defended, and the most convenient in the wide world. The brothers were delighted and became full of confidence, for each of them believed that he was the greatest man alive. I am the one the king should thank for having such a wonderful castle. After all, I am the one who carried that stone all the way up the mountain. Thou mayest have carved the stones, and thou mayest have bound them together. But had I not brought the stone up here in the first place, nothing of that could have been done, said the first brother. Ha! But the king would not have looked twice at the castle had I not carved those sculptures so beautifully, retorted the second brother. And yet, it was I who took thy sculptures and made them into a castle. What use have a king for sculptures, pray tell, beautiful though they may be? After some time, these discussions became so fractious that the 3 brothers resolved to live apart on the eastern, western, and southern edges of the kingdom. The youngest brother of the 4 was unlike his 3 older brothers. He excelled at nothing and was weak and clumsy. Though his older brothers would mock him constantly, the youngest brother was a docile sort, did not pay much heed to such insults. He was, however, worried about his brothers living apart, and he resolved to pay each of them a separate visit. A short while later, disaster befell the kingdom. A thick fog covered the entire land, blocking all sunlight for 100 days. Crops would not grow, and people became unwell. And yet the very worst of it was that the fog put an end to all the music, for it simply could not be heard through the heavy broom. The whole kingdom adopted a silent, funereal air, and still the source of the fog remained a mystery. One night, as the king slept fitfully, he had a strange dream. In it, someone was telling him the only way to clear the fog was to play a certain flute, the most beauteous flute in the world. Upon waking, the king immediately summoned the 3 brothers who had built his castle, and commanded them to build such a flute. Since the 3 brothers no longer spoke to one another, however, they would not cooperate, and each went off to carve his own. "I am the only one capable of making a flute fit for a king," said one brother. "It is simply too great a feat for the two of you." "Ha! Thou mightest better say that of thine own self," countered the second. "My flute will be the finest, as thou shalt soon see." "Boast if you will," scoffed the third. "All men know that mine will be the best." And so the arguments continued. After some time, all three brothers finished making their flutes, and went to present them to the king and his subjects. All the kingdom gathered on the shores of the lake that had been created by the first brother, anxious for the presentation to begin. The first brother picked up his flute, which was very big and made of stone, and blew. Try as he might, however, the flute would not produce a sound. The king soon turned his attention to the second brother. His flute was a beautiful, delicate instrument made of clay. When he blew it, it too produced no sound. The king was now becoming rather agitated, and hastily commanded the third brother to blow his flute. It was made of a single bone, with holes drilled in the appropriate places, and yet it too could produce not a single note. The king was furious, and banished the brothers from his sight. Several days later, the king awoke to hear the song of the flute that he had dreamed about. It was a beautiful sound, one that cleansed the heart, and brought tears to the eyes of royals, ministers, soldiers, ploughmen, and even the baker's cat, whom many had fought death. As the flute played on, the thick fog that had plagued the kingdom began to clear. The king was naturally delighted, and started searching for the source of this blissful sound. Trusting to the evidence of his ears, the king came at last to the house of the fourth brother. There he found him and his three brothers sitting together, with tears in their eyes. The king began to extend his warmest gratitude to the youngest brother, who was politely interrupted. "Alas, this flute was not my work. My three brothers built it." And he proceeded to explain all that had come to pass. The youngest brother had been visiting his three brothers every day, hoping to persuade them to work together as before. But his brothers were stubborn and would not listen. After some time travelling hither and thither, from south to east to west and back again, all the youngest brother's efforts got the better of him, and he collapsed in a heap. When his three elder brothers heard what had happened, they all felt sorry for their younger sibling, and went to visit him as he recovered. The eldest brother visited him first. "Is there aught I can do for you?" he asked. "Indeed there is. Hie thee to the forest, and cut down the tallest tree thou findest there. Chop it then into small pieces, bring them here to me." Thinking that his brother wanted firewood to keep him warm under the thick fog, the first brother agreed to do as he was asked. "Very well, younger brother," he said. "I shall start cutting right away." "Thank you," the youngest brother replied from his bed, and before long the first brother came back, a smile on his face and a pile of logs under his arm. The next day, the second brother came to visit his youngest sibling. "Is there aught I could do for you?" he asked, upon which the youngest brother brought out one of the logs that the first brother had cut for him. "Indeed there is. Carve of this wood something beautiful for me. Perhaps a pipe." Thinking that his brother wanted an ornament in his room to make him feel better, the second brother agreed without the slightest hesitation. "Very well, younger brother," he said. "I shall start carving right away." "Thank you," the youngest brother replied from his bed, and before long the first brother came back, a beautiful wooden pipe under his arm. The next day the third brother came to visit his younger sibling. "Is there aught I can do for you?" he asked, upon which the youngest brother brought out the pipe that his second brother had carved. "Indeed there is. Wouldst thou be so good as to drill some holes into this pipe for me?" Thinking that his brother wanted something to entertain himself while he was ill, the third brother gladly agreed. "Thank you," said the youngest brother from his bed when his older brother had returned with the finished pipe. "But I actually have one more request." "Of course, younger brother, what is it?" "Call our two brothers and tell them to come here." Though the third brother hated his older brothers, he could scarce refuse his ailing sibling's request, so piteous did he seem, and he agreed to go and fetch them. Despite all being gathered beneath the same roof, the three brothers would not look at each other, much less speak. Then, in the midst of the silence, the youngest brother pulled out the flute they had made and lifted it to his lips. As soon as he began to play, the three brothers began to weep, realizing how foolish they had been. As they listened to the sound of the flute, they recalled the past that they had shared, their humble home, their parents who had loved them so, the days when they had supported each other and helped each other before they won fame. The four brothers continued to weep as they realized that each was only truly special when he worked with the others, all four of them. Indeed, for it was only the youngest brother who could produce a pure note from their flute. The tears they wept were the most beautiful tears the world had ever seen, for they were tears of love. After the king had finished listening to the youngest brother's story, he decided to give all four brothers a special medal. From that day onwards, the brothers agreed to always work together, and they all lived happily ever after. And that's a lovely tale, a lovely story indeed, but I have to check something here. The second brother came to visit his younger sibling, correct? And he went to go carve the wood, correct? And he went and carved the wood straight away, correct? But then it said Thank you, the youngest brother replied from his bed, and before long the first brother came back, a beautiful wooden pipe under his arm. You see the problem with that? I didn't get that wrong. I thought I said it wrong at the time. Didn't get it wrong. Randomly it says it's the second brother that goes off and carves, but the first brother that comes back with a wooden pipe under his arm. So that's like... doesn't make all that much sense to me. But the story itself was beautiful. Just one little mistake. Just had to point out. I didn't mess up. I actually managed to do it. Good! Right then! With that all done and said, let's warp ourselves out to the palace entrance. Did I manage not to take the warp that was right there? That would have saved me some time indeed, wouldn't it? Actually, there's not a warp at the palace entrance. It just allows us to get straight back out in the quickest fashion possible. Great. I think I will bid the guys farewell for this episode as we take the Clarion and go and play it. Clear it out. Clear out the miasma marshes. Let the Clarion ring out. We'll do that next episode. So join me for more Ni no Kuni next time. I'll see you guys around. Bye-bye.